we started a company back in 2002. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, born and raised there. And back in 2002, we started our own company to publish a book that I had written to help young people make that transition out of high school or out of college into the real world. And it was working with a lot of young people who was in their 20s, and so it really helped. We just wanted to do something to help them to make that transition. That's a tough time of life. And then later on, or I should say, today we've expanded those efforts, and we really provide help and coaching for folks going through just regular stuff in life. So I guess that's what brings us here today. Over the last, I would say the last 10 years in particular, the majority of our clients have been folks who've been really going through a hard time. Everything from divorce, family crisis, people trying to break bad lifestyle cycles that they're in. And so that's what we've been about. And we've been doing this, I guess, overall, maybe 20 years total. Yeah, everything from, we do courses for folks who plan on getting married, people who are married and apologizing, saying, oh my God, what did I do? And so we have a pretty wide range of the kinds of different clients and people that we've had through the years, but we really enjoyed our work. Students meet with us either online, or they can meet with us by Skype. In fact, several of our clients are from out of state, and we Skype with them because it's not the same as going to a counselor or a therapist. So I guess that brings up the first thing, that what exactly is a life coach? So I want to answer that for you today, exactly what a life coach is. A life coach is someone who helps you reach a particular goal or to make changes that you're trying to go through in life. You know, because a lot of times people tell you you need to make changes, but they don't really walk you through the steps. Another way to think of a life coach is like a personal trainer, but it's for life. Personal trainers don't do the exercising for you, but they're the person who's there, I guess in a lot of cases, screaming at you, telling you, you can do it. You're going to do it. Yeah. You paid me, you better do it. So life coaching is kind of like the same, but it's just the person who's pushing you and keeps encouraging you. In fact, as I was just listening to Miss Tracy talking to you guys, she's literally life coaching you. She keeps encouraging you and telling you that you can do this and providing you background and information and help in every way that you can. That's simply what life coaching really is. We're the folks who are there to help you get really clear on what you really want in life. Because of all the stuff that can be going on in the background, sometimes it gets a little muddy, doesn't it, to stay focused, especially when you have negative experiences, especially when you keep putting in apps and sending in resumes, and you can really get off focus. You can find yourself, well, let me try this, well, let me try that, and now you're off track with what your real goal is, because the discouragement often sends us in all kinds of different directions, especially when something seems like it's just not working. Anybody know what I'm talking about? It's just not working. Maybe I should try another field, go in a whole other career, go in a completely different direction, and then isn't it frustrating 5 years later, then you go, why did I get off track? And but you're trying to just take care of yourself, you're trying to take care of your family. So a life coach is the person that's there to say, okay, let's stay on track. And we help you uncover some of the things that are holding you back. All the time you can't see it. And psychiatrists and psychologists call this a blind spot. There are things that you can look in the mirror and you can see it about yourself. But isn't it interesting that you cannot see the back of your head unless you get the extra mirror and you're going like that? But so there are blind spots, and that's the same way it is in all of our lives. And so a life coach is there to help you see the blind spots, the things about yourself that you may not be able to recognize, but they can see it. So that's part of what we do. We also help you walk you through the action steps that you might need to take for yourself to really see that your vision or what your plan is, to see it come through all the way. So that's what life coaching really is. And today we're really, you see me going to my notes, it's not because I don't know what to say, but this meeting is so important that I wanted to make sure that I cover everything with you in just this short time, because I really want to get to questions and have just kind of open talking here today. And so that's really the direction that I'm going. Our job is also to help you to tap into the places within you that hold the key. I believe that inside of every person, there's a key to your success. And so our role in a person's life is to provide the keys that'll help them to tap into what's already inside of you. I believe that, and that's just me personally, that there are things that are hidden inside of you, but they're hidden for you. They're not hidden from you, but they're hidden for you. And they're treasures. They're like diamonds, like gold, that have to be mined. And we all know the most precious minerals and elements in the earth, they're inside the earth, and they got to be mined. And it's the same thing for us as human beings. There are things you got to dig and get into it. And a lot of the stuff is covered because of the stuff we've gone through in our lives. It gets buried. Especially there are things that you come here, you're born here with it. And that's why when we're little, going through kindergarten, first and second grade, we got all these great ideas and things that we want to be and plan to be, but as life goes along, that stuff starts getting buried more and more. By the time you hit the workaday world, coming out of high school, coming out of college, a lot of stuff has been buried because so many people have told us we can't do it, we can't afford it, I can't afford to send you to school, and all those kinds of things. So we get away from the true gold, the true diamonds that are within us. And so part of what life coaches do is they help you to dig through and get back to the gold and the diamonds and the precious stuff that's inside of you. Some of the ways that helps us to get to that I think there are 3 keys. It's just me personally. I think you can get to those to that goal by inspiration, by information, or by investigation. That's how you can get to it. And so I want to be a little personal with you first, give you a little bit of information, give you some inspiration, but tell you a little bit about our story, my wife and I. This is my wife, and our next anniversary will be in January, and we'll be married 35 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And as I told you earlier, I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, born and raised there. In fact, part of our young life as a married couple, we lived in Ferguson. Those of you familiar with Ferguson and what's happening there, that's been very, very personal to us, what's happening out there, because that's where I'm from. Family, friends, got nephews, friends, family, all live right in that area. And so I married a girl from Harrisburg. I can't get into all of that story, that would take too long. But I married a Harrisburg girl, and she spent most of her life with me living in St. Louis. I found myself back in 2006 getting a job offer here in Harrisburg to go work for the state. Now, I had been working for 17 years previously in St. Louis, 17 years with a very successful nonprofit organization and its connecting church. And I was personally the manager of its budget, which was close to $1 million a year. And I managed a paid staff of 17 people, a core volunteer group, 200 folks. So I was part of something very special in that community. And so our goal and our plan was to move here, South Central Pennsylvania, and duplicate that success that we had there to duplicate it here. Well, it failed miserably when we got here. And I found myself needing to get a job. And so some of you in the room, you'll identify with this. 46 years old, I haven't done a resume in 17 years, haven't had to put in an application, take an interview with anybody in 17 years. 46-year-old black man in South Central Pennsylvania, nobody knows me. It's not like I'm born and raised here, can make some connections with people. I'm not even from here. And so I don't know if you identify with that, but we get it. Definitely get it. And of course, some of you are sitting there asking, why in the world would you move here to Harrisburg in the first place?
That was the first question.
Why would you move here? But like I said, it was our goal to establish what we had going on there to build it here, to get it going here. And it didn't work. And then I discovered that I needed to make some changes because the world has changed. And that's a challenge when you come out, you're 46 years old, the whole world has changed. You haven't had to get out there like this for a long time. So not only has the world changed, but I'm in a different part of the country in a world that has changed. And so as I prepared for that interview, at the time we were behind on the mortgage, behind on car payments, insurance, and I know you know what that's like. Like, how am I supposed to go into this job interview and your world has crashed and there's pressure? Some of y'all going, wow. So, are you living there right now? Living there right now. So I really wasn't feeling good about myself. I'm in midlife crisis because of the failure of the attempt, and under all the pressure of the bills and all that. And interestingly enough, my dad gave me a call because here I am about to go on this job interview. My dad called me from St. Louis. My parents had a house fire, and so part of their recovery and everything, of course, to get the insurance settlement and all of that, my dad called and said, I'm going to send you some money. Now, I get very emotional about that, so excuse me if my voice starts to shake because that was very, very special. From the Midwest, but it's a very southern type of city, St. Louis. People don't think of it as a southern city, but it is. A lot of folks migrated from the South, including my parents, from Tennessee and Mississippi and all of that. So very, very much southern in our culture, which means I'm going to help you in any way I can with whatever I have. So my dad calls and said, I'm going to send you some money to pay off, not pay off, but help you get your bills up to date so that when you go on this interview, you won't have that pressure on you. You won't be taking all of that negativity into the interview. And my dad was absolutely right. I didn't even realize it until he said that I was about to blow my opportunity on this interview, because I would have walked in there with all of that pressure, all of that feeling on me. And I want you to know, and I'm sure that most of you have already discovered, your prospective employers can feel that. You don't mean for that to come out, but it does. Because that's just what's on you. You're desperate. I got to do something. I need a job. You walk in the door, and before you said anything, everything about our demeanor, our whole aura, everything says, I need a job when you walk in the door. And you don't want it to come out, but it's like this little man or this woman comes out and it hits the room before you get in there. And so today I can't offer you any money to bring your bills up to date.
That's the next phrase. Oh, you're going to offer something? I can't offer any money to bring your bills up to date, but I can offer you the wisdom that my dad gave me. And the wisdom of that moment was to take the pressure. You can't go into the interview with the weight of the world on your shoulders. You really can't. You can't take, I put it this way, you can't take that negative energy in there with you. You really do. So here's a couple of things I had to do. And maybe it's a possible key for somebody today. I had to stop trying to be what I had always been. I had to let go of St. Louis. And that's really tough, especially for those of you who are coming from successful jobs and careers. I don't mean everything went perfect, but you pretty much, you had it good. And you know you had it good. And so, go into the next place, you gotta let that go. You have to let it go. I had to let go of St. Louis. And I had a successful past, and a good past, but I couldn't go into this interview still thinking about St. Louis. I had to stop trying to be what I had always been. And that may sound kind of negative, but it will help you for the future. I had to stop trying to be what I had always been. I had to stop trying to get back to what I was always doing. I'm not talking about the career, I'm talking about, I want life to be like it was before. Life has totally changed. And that's hard for all of us. That's why we wrote a book for young people to help them.
because you want life to stay the same, but it doesn't. It just doesn't. And that desire for life to stay the same is the negative energy that you can take into an interview, because everything has changed. I had to start being. I had to start being what I needed to be here and now. I couldn't be Chris Green, 90s administrator. I needed to be whatever this prospective employer was going to need. I had to be that. I had to be that, whatever they're going to need me to be, and I'm offering my services. So I got to be that. I got to be in the here and the now. And the other thing I had to do was I have to start. I'm going to have to start doing what I need to do here and now. And so what I had to do, I still remember, it was a pretty nice position that I was going for. I remember, and my interview was actually in the Capitol. So here I'm walking up to the Capitol steps, and I'm thinking, oh my God, how did I even end up here? What am I doing? But I knew that I was going to have to change and be what I needed to be and do whatever I needed to do. And I know some of you, you've been encouraging yourself with those words. I got to do whatever I need to do, and it's really true. But I want you to be real intentional before you go into your next interview. I got to do what I need to do. And I'm going to tell yourself, I'm going to do what I need to do. Yeah. Well, can't see her picture very well, but you may be familiar with Lisa, Nicole, and other life coaches like Les Brown, Oprah Winfrey. Lisa was on, she's one of the world's most requested motivational speakers. She's a well-known personality, has a following of 30 million people around the world. Tells an awesome story of how she came to the point at 19 years old, she didn't even have enough money to buy Pampers for her 8-month-old son. And she looked at her son and said, Mama will never be this broke again. And she said, with all of her accomplishments, she told Steve Harvey, my biggest accomplishment was being willing to give myself 1,000 second chances. And every time I got to $9.99, I pressed reset. I didn't ask for permission, I gave notice. Yeah, and that's not just the people around you. You have to give yourself notice. I'm giving myself notice. Reset. At some point, I had to stop asking, can I be great? Can I be brilliant? Can I be okay? And still be accepted. Wow. So for some of you, this may mean making a real drastic mental and emotional and even spiritual change that your family and friends, they may not understand this person that you are trying to become, because it's not, I gotta change. I gotta do something different. I gotta be somebody, I gotta be something different to meet the challenge of this changed world. Yeah, so you gotta serve notice on everybody, not in a braggadocious kind of way, but like, I can't keep trying to be what I've always been. I gotta be something different. I gotta do something different. Sometimes I say, make this statement, you can't be a lemming. Don't just follow along. Can't go with the crowd. You really can't. And because the crowd doesn't always know where it's going. And sometimes you'll have to go against the tide. You really will. And the reason why I say this is because often when we get with friends and family, and it is such a hard time in America right now, it can just become just a complaint session. And just going on and on and on about how it is here in Harrisburg, how it is in South Central Pennsylvania, how bad it is in Pennsylvania, how horrible the economy is. And you know what? When you keep filling yourself up with that negative conversation, that's going along with the crowd. At some point you gotta say, hey, guys, I can't hear this. I got stuff that I gotta do. Yes, I know things are tough, and I ain't got my head stuck in the sand, and I'm not living up on a cloud somewhere, but I can't live in this negative energy. I got to go for what I need to do. Yeah, it's like that. That's what she means by serving notice. Now, here's the information part. You were born to do more than just go to work, pay bills, and die. Now, this understanding, it really will. This will change your attitude. It'll change your attitude about all of life. That you're not just here, and you were born to do more than just go to work and pay bills and die. Here in the job club, you guys have been prepared to face this new landscape, this new job landscape. And I'm sure that you guys have had several workshops that talks about your attitude and being very positive. It's really true. They're not just making something up. I've been on the other side. Remember, I said I had a staff of 17. I was overseeing 200 volunteers. And when it comes to those tough choices that have to be made, and such things as furloughs and layoffs, I can tell you as an employer, the people that I was most difficult to even consider letting go was the people that were very positive, the people that were uplifting. It was hard to let those people go. In fact, when you're making the choices, you don't even start off with just skill sets. You start off with thinking with the people that we're going to have left, if we have to make layoffs, with the people that we're going to have to keep, are they team players? Because the whole company's going through a hard time. We're laying people off. So the people that are left have really got to be some positive team player, do what we need to do kind of people. Because if you keep the complainers, if you keep the slackers, and we're already having a hard time as a company, then I've shot myself in the foot. I let go of my good people. Yeah. Think about that. And those are the kinds of people who are living for more than just a paycheck. I'm not saying they're not living for a paycheck, but they got something more in mind. Those are the people who very often, they are considering the good of everybody, not just myself. They understand that if I'm here and I'm helping everybody, if I'm part of a team, then we will make it. Our organization will make it, and therefore I will keep my job. I will still have my money coming in. But the ones who are every man for themselves, oh my God, they destroy morale. And I can tell you as an employer, as a former employer, it is really tough when you have people that are destroying the morale. It's really, really tough.
It's a disease.
It does. It just runs through the ranks. And even your good people who are often very positive start getting pulled down. They really do. So, at this stage in your life, I want you to accept this thought that you have something to offer a company more than just a person walking in the door who needs a paycheck. With the experience that's in this room, I want you to understand, anybody ever heard the phrase, knowledge is power?
Yes.
You walk into a company, an organization with power because you have knowledge and experience. You have power. You're not just the person walking in the door with your hand out saying, give me a job, please. You're walking in the door with a person with bags loaded with information and experience. And so your presentation is not someone standing there saying, please help me. You're walking in the door with, I have a lot of stuff that I can give you. And so walking in with that mentality change, just that little mentality change, not bold and bragging, I'm in the house. No. But it changes your mentality. You're more positive when you walk in because now you know I have something to offer. Athletes and entertainers live this way all the time because they know they've got the goods. And the reason why I'm being considered for this part or to play for this team is because I have the goods. And so the issue for many of them is just simply, do I fit? Am I a good fit for this team or for this movie or for this play? That's all it is. I have what they need, but the issue is, will I fit here? And so don't even see all of your denials as something negative. You may not just be a good fit, but it doesn't mean you don't have what somebody needs. You have power.
Yes.
And I'm not just that guy who stands up and goes, you know, remember the commercial, you have potential, you have potential. And you know, and while my nose goes long, everybody's sitting there going, come on, man. We're trying to find jobs. Don't tell me I need potential. I have potential. I need what? And I'm telling you now. I'm not saying you have potential. I'm saying you have power. You have knowledge and experience. Therefore, you have power. You have what they need. Now, the issue is there someone that's smart enough to recognize that you have what they need?
That's why we're here.
But I want to tell you something. The issue is, do you recognize that you have what they need? Some of them won't recognize that you have what they need until you recognize it. They haven't seen it in you because you haven't seen it in you. Because you walk in the door. I did it too. You walk in the door with your hand out instead of saying, you know what, I'm here, I've got what you need, and I want to tell you why I'm a good fit for this company, for this organization. It changes even the way you answer the questions. It's not that you don't have the answer, but it'll change the way that you answer. You will answer with such confidence. You'll be surprised when you have confidence. You know how you walk away from some interviews and you're thinking, man, I wish I had said this, I wish I had said that. And that's because afterwards you have confidence because you've had the experience. Mm-hmm. Then your confidence boosts, and then you're thinking, man, I wish I could have said this. Well, what I'm telling you today is giving you what you need before you go in, so that you don't have to have all of those moments where it's, I wish I had said this or that. You'll be in the moment. And that's what I meant by when I said when I got to that interview, and after my dad had helped me that way, I was able to be in the moment and not have to come back and think, oh, I wish I had said. It allowed me to be in the moment. In fact, as part of my interview, it wasn't going so well at first, and then I actually did this. I don't recommend everybody does this, but I stopped the interview and I said, you know what, I just want you to know that I don't have a chip on my shoulder. I'm a team player. I've been an employer. I've been on the other side. I've been in your position. I'm a team player. I know how to get along with the rest of the team. And I just put it out there like that. I got hired the next day because I realized in the moment, this isn't going well. He's not hearing where I'm coming from. I'm answering the questions, and maybe these aren't the answers he's looking for. But when I stopped in the moment, I said, wait a minute. And I just told him, I don't have a chip on my shoulder, because I began to realize his questions were really about how I would fit with the team he wanted to place me on. And he didn't think I would be a good fit. For all of the reasons that I brought up. You're from St. Louis, because it's all there. You're not from here. You're not connected with anybody here. So I had to relieve all of that in the moment and say, I don't have a chip on my shoulder. I have nothing to prove. I just want to be on the team. Changed everything. And I want you to know that you have that kind of power. Experience gave me the foresight to be able to say that in the moment. And you guys have that type of experience. You really do. That even in an interview, you could, I don't want you to say, hold up, let's stop this right now. But you can say, excuse me, it just kind of feels like we're not really communicating right now. So I want you to, could you give me a minute to just kind of let me tell you who I am? And that kind of foresight helps an employer to understand, oh, you're not just looking for a job. You're looking to make a difference. This is the kind of person I could hire. That even in an interview,
You're not just the lemmings just going along. You're not just following the script. Love working with people who didn't just follow the script. Why? Because as we all know, life could be so different and so challenging from one day to the next on our jobs and in our families and in the community that you relish those people who can rally in spite of crisis. You want those kinds of folks. And I believe, as I'm just sitting here looking at all of you, everybody in the room, you're all nodding your heads. You're those kind of people. You're those kind of people. Because everybody, just think about it, everybody's not even taking advantage of the job club, of coming here every week. So just your presence says you're those kind of people. That's what I'm saying to you today. Wow. So you bring a lot of things to the table with your knowledge and your experience. You bring consistency, that work ethic, that that says I'm going to be there no matter what, on time, every time. Believe me, employers are looking for that, and you guys already bring that to the table. Believe me, we don't take that for granted. We really don't, especially in today's world. We don't take it for granted, that issue of people who are consistent. You guys bring assurance and confidence to whatever place that will hire you, that will bring you on board. You're going to bring assurance and confidence to that company. Why do I say that? Because you've already been through tough times. You're living it right now. And you're going to bring that to those places so that when they are experiencing tough times, they've got people on board who already are battle-hardened, experienced folks that we can rely on and we can depend on. You guys bring mentorship because of your experience. You bring mentorship. We're in a phase right now here in America where there's a lot of young hires. I'll say those of you who are part of the young generation, we're so glad to have you on board and bringing you on board. But you guys bring some mentorship to those young hires because many of them have the skills. They do. They have awesome skills coming out of high school or college or trade schools and 2 years of community colleges, but they don't necessarily have the experience yet about the workaday world. So you guys bring tremendous mentorship. I don't know if you guys are Pittsburgh Steelers fans, but Jerome Bettis, I happened to catch NFL Films did a story on him and his final year in which they won the Super Bowl, playing in Detroit, his hometown. And Jerome, even though he didn't have all the skills that he used to have, and couldn't play with all the power that he used to play, he literally made himself a mentor of that team in that final year. He made himself a mentor. All he did was, most of the time, he was on the sidelines giving guys ideas and just really experiences, sharing his experiences. He said, I just shared my experiences with them and advised them and coached them. He literally mentored that team to a Super Bowl championship. What was the power that he had? It wasn't just his skill set. The power that he had was knowledge and experience. That man's power, that's what I'm saying to you. That man powered that team to an NFL championship. Isn't that awesome? And so I'm saying to you, that's what you do. That's what you can bring when you talk about your mentorship. And you guys bring the understanding that you got to do a job right the first time. Do it right the first time because you've learned. You've learned, and that's a valuable commodity for any organization or group to have, and that's people who know how to do the job right the first time. Wow. Now the investigation part, the last one. So I've talked about information, inspiration, now investigation. Now this is where you make the connection with why you're even part of this program. And that is, you're not just seeking a job, but this is an opportunity for you to investigate, learn more about this changed world, which you will have. I heard you say when you came in talking about how much things have changed. And that's how it was for me when I had to go to that job after 17 years and never having to do a resume or job interview. So you're investigating the changes that have happened. You're also taking advantage of the workshops and the suggestions that are coming your way. You're taking advantage of the resume writing, and some of you found out like, oh my God, I thought you just simply write out a list of what I've done. I didn't know a resume required all of this and all of that. Yeah, but that's part of your investigation. You're digging in. You're unearthing your gold, your diamonds, by going through this investigative process here. And you're investigating yourself. You're making self-discovery. And there is nothing more frustrating than to make a discovery of the areas that you're lacking in the interview. I hate that. While I'm sitting in the interview and they ask some question or bring up some issue, it's like, yeah.
I did that answer.
So this is where you're making that self-discovery. This is the investigative part. Why? Because that experience now tells you, okay, I got to dig deeper, I got to find out more, because it's going to simply bring out that much more of your gold and your diamond for the next one. So you're in the investigation part of it. And so for me, I just believe that all three of these are what's necessary, and you are going through the process. My final story, then I'll let you guys ask me some questions. In April of this year, I learned that the government job that I had had since 2006 was coming to an end, and it did. It ended in April. So it was time to go through this process all over again. And my wife and I, we happened to have a chance meeting with a guy who has some really high international positions. And we talked to him about the things that we have been doing through the years, and that's because we still never gave up on that dream of being able to help people, whether it's community center or just helping people one-on-one. When we develop friendships with people, we really develop friendships. Maybe it's that southern Midwest thing that's still inside of me. But over these years that we've been living here in Harrisburg, my wife and I have been still coaching individuals, like I mentioned earlier, friends of ours who are going through divorce, those who are going through all kinds of critical changes in their life, trying to break cycles, everything from a drug addiction to, and we're not experts, we're not the therapists that they go through, but we were just the friends coming alongside to just keep encouraging them, or presenting them their options. You know that a lot of times when people are in trouble or having a hard time, you can't always see your options. Mm-hmm. And maybe somebody just outside of your situation looking at it and say, did you think about this, you think about that? Then okay, yeah, you're right. Well, that's all we've been doing for the past 10 years, particularly here. We've actually been doing it for 20 years, but we just didn't realize it, that it's something that people will actually see as a service that they would be willing to even pay for. We didn't know. But this guy, we were telling him our frustration with jobs coming to an end, and what are we going to do next, and so what do we need to do? And he just gives us this one word. He says, you guys need to rebrand. Rebrand. And now offer this as an actual service to people, life coaching. So now here I am at 56 years old. And I'm standing before you now doing what we've always been doing all these years through all these different jobs that I've had. It's just that I had to get out of trying to do like we did in St. Louis, quit trying to just be an administrator, now it's like, wow, I have what I just told you. We have experience. We have knowledge. We have power. We've been married for 35 years. We have 3 adult sons. We've raised all of them successfully. 2 have graduated from college. 2 have gotten married. We haven't had to go get anybody out of jail. We haven't had to, I ain't to say they didn't have to be in trouble with the police, but we haven't had to get anybody out of jail. And I'm not bragging. I'm just saying we've got some knowledge and experience that there are some people who want that.
And they're willing to sit down with us to find out how to do what we've been doing. And so we're in business for ourselves as life coaches. In other words, we have to rebrand. We have to start all over, let go of the past, go ahead and do what we need to do. That's what we're saying to you. So you guys, hopefully you have picked up on the keys for your success, for what you have to do, for what's next. Wow. I think that's it for today. Hopefully that helped you guys.